I'm Frankie, your local Stockholm guide, and I'm excited to show you everything you need to know to be able to take public transport in Stockholm, Sweden's capital.
As long as you can show me a good time, I don't care.
This video was requested by one of our subscribers. Thank you for your comment. I hope this video answers all of your questions about public transportation in Stockholm. I'll teach you how to pay for a single ticket first. You will need different things depending on how you wish to pay for your tickets. If you'll be using the public transport at least 3 separate times per day during your visit, I advise you get an actual day pass instead. There's 3 options for those: 24 hours, 72 hours, and 7-day passes that give you unlimited rides on all of Stockholm's public transportation vehicles. You can purchase these passes on the SL app or at one of the operating booths at the entrance of the metro. So this is also the case if you're arriving via Arlanda Express from the airport and getting to the main central station in Stockholm. You'll be able to purchase your tickets there as well. A little tip for me: if you buy the single ticket each way you travel instead, you can try using it more than once, and definitely more than one vehicle type, by scanning your ticket several times within a 75-minute time window. This means you won't get charged again within 1 hour and 15 minutes of the start of your journey. The same thing applies to the daily passes. Like, it starts counting the moment you tap it. If I tap it in on Wednesday at 5 p.m., it will last me all the way to Thursday at 5 p.m. It's easier to buy single tickets and track time left to spare by using the SL app. So I would recommend that instead of actually buying it at the booth. The app also has a journey planner feature and updates arrivals and departures in real time. So if your bus is running late, it actually will tell you. Stockholm's SL app actually has a well-functioning platform in English as one of the language options. You can also buy your tickets for the Stockholm transportation system at designated spots like the central station's main tourist desk, especially for those of you who might be doing short trips to other cities nearby like Gävle or Uppsala. This is usually where you can purchase physical tickets for the SJ train. So the SJ train is the in-between cities train. So it's not actually part of the SL, the inner Stockholm framework of public transportation. So just be wary that not all tickets convert, even if it's within the Stockholm region. It's not the Stockholm municipality. Stockholm is not the kind of place where you can just kind of ride on a free ride. Like, you can't really do that here. We have really strong control when it comes to public transportation misuse fines. So if you get caught, you're going to be paying over 100 euros of a fine. All of the vehicles that you can take advantage of in Stockholm include the bus, the metro, the light rail, commuter trains like Pendeltåg or Roslagsbanan, ferries with the SL logo, and finally we have the privately owned Arlanda Express, which is the fast bullet train that will take you from Arlanda Airport, one of the main airports in Stockholm, all the way to Stockholm City Central. This is the main central station where the trains arrive in Stockholm and through which every single metro line also passes through in T-Centralen. Since it is the fastest, it's also a little bit more expensive, but you can technically take public transportation. So maybe I'll do another video about that, how to get from the airport to the city center in many different ways, from the cheapest to the most expensive. Now, I have some bus rules I want to share with you so you don't become one of those tourists that all the locals hate. Firstly, you enter the bus and you scan your card. You don't have to have the special app if you don't want to on your phone. You can just use your normal debit or credit card and tap it, and it will function like a single way ticket. So let's say within the 1 hour and 15 minutes, you then switch over to another form of public transportation. Let's say you take a bus and then you decide to take the ferry. If you're within that range, you won't be charged again. You just need to tap it again, and you should acknowledge how much time is left over. Do not be afraid, you won't be charged twice, even if you are asked to be tapping twice. So once every time you enter a new form of public transportation. And then once you tap in, you actually do not have to tap out. Now, typically on the bus though, unless you're an elderly person or have mobility issues or are pregnant, you should make your way to the back of the bus or keep the priority seats at the front for the aforementioned groups, okay? Now, the truth is, there's a little bit of a faux pas kind of situation here, cultural no-no for local Swedes. Swedes love their personal space, so you may notice that there's always some social distancing happening when passengers space themselves out to avoid close contact with each other. If you wish to blend in like the locals, then I suggest you keep your distance as much as possible. So some anthropologists might say that Swedes do ignore everyone, even stay quiet instead of saying, excuse me, or ursäkta mig. So don't take it personally if nobody says hey or hi to you when you enter the bus. They just feel like they have just as much right to be there as you do, and they're going about their lives unbothered. Now onto the pendeltåg. The pendeltåg will take you where the metro either can't or simply takes too long to reach. So the pendeltåg is kind of like the commuter train that takes you further out into different suburbs of Stockholm. And most departures for visitors or tourists, I guess if you're in the city center, you probably will be leaving from T-Centralen or Stockholm City Central Station. They will take you around to the suburbs, to Mall of Scandinavia, to Södertälje, Uppsala even. It just takes a little bit longer. Bear in mind though that the pendeltåg is the only type of public transportation where you're allowed to take your bike. Don't try taking a bike on the bus or the metro. You can be fined or worse. I once was almost arrested, but that's a story for another time. The lesson you can take from me is that you don't pull a Frankie with your bike in Stockholm. The Roslagsbanan will take you farther north than the red metro lines can. This is a train that services suburban areas like the adjacent municipalities of Täby, Österåker, all of these different places. Next up, we have the ferries, which is probably my favorite thing about Stockholm. In case you don't know, Stockholm is built on a bunch of islands, and all around us we have the Baltic Sea, we have lakes, we have so much water. So of course we had to have ferries as being one of the main public transportation forms here in Stockholm. So it's a really lovely thing to do and way cheaper than taking a boat tour. So quick tip from me, if you want to just go on the water, you don't have a big budget, just go on a ferry, a public ferry. As you enter the ferry at, for example, Slussens dock, you'll be able to scan your ticket or slash if you use your credit card again. Some archipelago boats though, rather than charge you upon entry, they ask you to pay once you're already inside of the boat. So this is, for example, the ones that take you to Vaxholm in the summer. If you happen to get onto one of those boats, once the boat is on its way, then you can actually go and pay for your ticket then. They usually announce it in English too, so you're never going to be too confused. This makes it so the boat entrance, it doesn't get overcrowded or jammed by the queue, and the departure then isn't delayed because, you know, Swedish people, they like to be on time. Now, the final little form of transportation, I mean, there's a lot of different forms. I'm sure I'm going to forget one, but the final one that I thought of was the tram. So the tram is like a light rail situation. They can take you from, for example, T-Centralen all the way to Djurgården, the big island with all of the museums like the Vasa Museum, the ABBA Museum, Skansen. And there's also the tram that can take you west-east in the south of Stockholm from, for example, Solna to Liljeholmen, trying to cover the areas that currently the subway doesn't cover, but pretty soon we'll have the blue line also covering parts of that. For that one, people usually come and check your ticket once in a while, but most often they have one person on board who will be asking you, hey, can you pay your ticket with me? And that usually applies in the T-Centralen to Djurgården line because that's the line that most tourists take, and that's the only line where it's allowed to walk in and not have a ticket paid. Quick fact, most tickets for children aged 6 and under are free. Public transportation is what makes this such a great city. Not only is it a very walkable city, but it's a city where you can actually move around quite easily without a car. It's an incentive for you to take public transportation here in Stockholm because many places do not have parking. So if you do end up renting a car, be sure to be outside of the city center because even just coming into the city center, you will be paying a fee just to cross over some bridges to come into the municipality. So take public transportation, y'all, and that's the best way to go around Stockholm. I hope this has been informative. If you happen to want to know a little bit more about a specific form of public transport, do let me know down in the comments below. But if you don't like public transportation, you can also opt to go solo by commuting by bike or by horse. Thank you so much, everybody, and please make sure to help out our channel by subscribing. It's the only free thing you can do that helps us out, and we are trying to bring you more content like this one. So thank you guys, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye!